Hey everyone, I'm Jo'Van.
And I'm Brandice.
And we're the hosts of a brand new show called
Closing the Gap.
We're so excited that you're here. You may have wondered, why is our show called Closing the Gap? Well, we live in a time where there's tons of information. It's hard to determine what's true,
what's false,
what's meaningful,
and what will truly feed your soul. We wanted to create a platform, a safe space for young adults to discuss everyday issues, but with a godly perspective. If you want answers, well, this is the show for you.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe.
So Brandice, entertainment this week. Did you check out, or did you see the whole Kirk Franklin and his son situation play out?
I didn't watch the whole video. I did catch pieces, but
Right.
I don't think there's anybody out there who hadn't heard it because it was crazy. There's so many memes.
Right. Memes were killing me. But it was just the way he was talking on the one. Because there was a video of him like going off on his son.
Yeah.
And I was like, some of those yells that Kirk Franklin was doing, it literally reminded me of the album. Because, he's so tense, you know what I'm saying? But instead there was profanity. But yeah, that situation was crazy. And what did you think? Because I checked out. I didn't go super deep, but I checked out like who his son was because I didn't know anything about his son.
No, I didn't know anything about his son either.
Yeah.
There's two sides of this. First, let me deal with the father and son. There's clearly some issues there, and there's some hurt on both ends. However, on one end, like that is a family problem, and I think it is wrong that the son did air that for the world to see. And I understand that you are hurt and that you probably got to a point where you're like, I'm going to put this out here. I don't care. But at the same time, you want to keep that family issues inside. On the other side, Kirk, if my parents don't speak to me that way, and I know I'm not like, there are times they're probably frustrated with me or whatever the case may be. I think you still have to think about it. Like, yes, he is an adult and whatever. He's not a small child, but there's some ways you shouldn't speak to your child or anyone for that matter.
Right.
And that was just fair. It was very heartening that he speaking to his child that way. And I understand that I don't know the full story. I don't know what the past was, but just the words hurt. And so the fact that he was speaking that way to his son, it's just a lot. It was just, it was very cringy. It was a lot. That's why I couldn't watch the full thing.
Yeah, he was very angry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what was going on.
Me neither.
Man, that was not, honestly, that was different energy from Kirk. And I was like, man, what if we got an album? What if we got a Kirk Franklin album with that type of energy? What would that be like?
Listen,
like Stomp is like literal, like, but he's like, okay. I don't know. I think that would be fire because I love music. So I kind of want to hear it, but it probably wouldn't be good
Kirk Franklin.
For his brand. It would destroy it. But I support you, Kirk. No matter what you do, I support
it. Well, speaking of that, I just feel like because he's a gospel artist and he does have, a lot of people kept saying, well, he's not a pastor, so he should get grace, but he does have that platform. And so he has like a lot of like impressionable people watching him, and especially in a stage where they might be confused. Like, is this how Christians behave? Or so I just feel like.
See, my thing is though, Christians, we're still human. Not excusing his behavior.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I feel like a lot of people get upset, but obviously it's not on a platform.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he has to be more responsible.
Yeah.
But he's not knowing that this is going to be broadcasted. It's not like he's doing it like on a public platform. He got put,
That is true.
He got put out
but you're still proclaiming that you're a Christian. And so how you are doing behind closed doors will come out. So clearly this is I don't know. That was just, I didn't really care for on both ends. I was just like, as a Christian, as a father, it's just, I was like, no, Kirk, it's not a good look for you. Like, because don't get me wrong, I get upset with people because that's the thing. Have you ever heard of Steve Harvey's morning show prank calls?
Oh yeah, with Tommy.
Nephew Tommy.
Yeah, Nephew Tommy.
So I always laugh at those because they always do some Christian, some deacon of the church. And he's like,
those
you
are the
got me
best.
to curse. And I'm like, if you're not a cursor, you're not going to just, if you're angry, it's not going to just make somebody curse. Like, you, like, make me angry. I'm not going to be like, da-da-da-da. That's just not in me. I'm not a cursor, so it's just not going to come
See,
out.
if you made me angry, I would definitely curse. Absolutely. I would go crazy.
Well, I won't make you angry because I don't want to see that side of you. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, when people say, oh, you made me curse. Like, no, you're already a cursor. It just came out. So I don't buy that, because every time on nephew Tommy say that something like that, I'm like, oh no, that's already in you. It has already came out. So yeah.
Well, I feel like when you're in the heat of the moment and you get really angry, or in the heat of the moment, in a lot of different things, you can do things that are out of your character. And so I don't really.
You might say something that's hurtful, but it might be like, oh, I should have said that. I don't know. That maybe that's, I don't know. I just,
yeah, because we might just be different. You know what I'm saying? Because man, when it's in there, it's gotta come out. And I'm working on it. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying?
no, yeah.
But it's in there, and sometimes it's gonna come out, and I'll apologize later. But with me, I'm on therapy, so I need to learn how to express myself. In healthier ways. But yeah.
Please let us know in the comments what you guys thought about the Kirk Franklin situation. Did you think it was crazy? Was it out of hand? Things of that nature. Please let us know, because we would love to know what you guys thought about that. Clearly, we have different thoughts about this.
So
But
you've
yeah,
heard our opinions on the Kirk Franklin situation, everything going on, but let's visit God's word and see what God says about how to handle these situations. I will say, before I read it, for me, I know I'm not perfect. When I see Kirk Franklin, I'm just like, man, I feel you. Like, I don't understand the whole situation, but I understand what it's like to just be overwhelmed with anger, and it's something that you got to work on. But
definitely.
let's visit God's word and see what he has to say. So James 1, verses 19 through 20 says, know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the anger of a man does not produce the righteousness of God. And I feel like that's 100% true. Out of anger, a lot of mostly negative things happen,
Yes.
right? And we have to pay attention to what is coming out. Like, what fruit are we producing? If we're producing, language that is tearing down people, what does that say about what's going on internally? So I love this verse because it teaches us to be mindful of what we're producing, not only verbally but actions. So yeah, I love that verse.
Yeah, that's a really good verse that we should all like carry in our everyday life, and just especially when it comes to difficult situations. But I found another one in Ephesians 4:29. No foul language should come from your mouth, but only what is good for building up someone in need. So it gives grace to those who hear. So that tells you everything in that scripture as far as like where God stands on the language he was using. Everything we are coming out our mouth should edify and build up people, because he has an audience. That's the thing that I was getting. That my point is, he has an audience, so people are listening to him, thinking that's okay. Kirk Franklin's doing it, then this is how a Christian behaves, or whatever. But that's not the case. Your language should always be pure and speak on things that are lovely, what is true, and clearly that's God's word. So if you find yourself struggling within this place, make sure you find scripture to help you. Pray. God, there's so many scriptures in the Bible that can lead and guide you. That's the purpose of this show, to just talk about everyday things and give you a purpose and guide you in God's way and His truth. So, yeah.
So, Brandice, when it comes to like family and friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which one would you say? Which drama hits harder, the family drama or the friendship drama? or and relationship drama? Like, which one hits the hardest for you?
Well, you threw relationship, and that's a whole different thing.
We can take out relationship, friends and family, because relationship that's a whole.
Because it's a different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably family, definitely.
Okay.
Because it's a different type of, like, if it's drama or hurt, for that matter. Because at the end of the day, like, friends, they come and go, or even it's like a different.
Right. That's true.
But family, especially if they hurt you, is like that person is supposed to love you unconditionally, or be there through thick and thin, and like the saying always says, blood is thicker than water. So when they do something that hurts you, it's like a whole different type of cut, and it's like, and that's why sometimes you kind of go a little deeper with family, like say certain things,
Right.
So.
Yeah, because you probably spend a lot of time with them. Or
so you know what,
And I think there's certain cases where you could say the same for friends, but it's easier to let go of friends.
You extend more grace to friends. I don't know why, but you do.
Really?
Yeah.
You would say you extend more grace to friends than family?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just because the same thing, like, at the end of the day, you might love them as though they are family.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that family member that hurts you is like, wait, what's going on here? We are supposed to be thick and thin. Like,
right.
That friend might come, like I said, they come and go, and life happens.
Yeah.
You might grow apart or whatever. You might have been best friends, but they kind of grow apart. That's life.
Yeah.
But that family member, that's for life. It's supposed to be for life.
Also, family, they know, they don't just know things about you. They know things about your mom, your dad, your siblings. They know everything, so they can go deep. They can go like that generational shade. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, so friends, it's hard. They can't really hit that chord like that because they may know like your day to day, like your other friends or people you've been dating or whatnot. But it's rare that they're gonna know like the intricacies of your family like that. But your family, they know it all, and they're just like, "Hey, you want that family smoke? Come get it." You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And it's like all the gloves are off.
Right.
And and sometimes with family hurt is because a lot of people think that, because they're family and I quote unquote love you unconditionally, I can say that you should just get over it. But that's not the case.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I love very conditionally, actually. Very conditionally. I'm working on it. But,
Please.
I got a long way to go. But definitely. I think family, it gets really complicated just because the depth of how far things have gone and and things like that. So
sometimes it's working through like generational things. Like you have to like especially give like grace to your parents because like they're figuring things out. They're only going for based what they know, and aunts and uncles. And it's just a learning curve, and it just sometimes it hurts though.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I have a question for you. Okay. So you got your family drama and dysfunction and all that stuff, but I think we were talking about this before, and it's like in a dating sense.
Okay.
When it comes to like introducing someone like new to your family, just in general, like it matters like what our family thinks of that person, right?
Yes.
But it should only matter so much, at a certain point we got to choose either this person or, because our family's never going to look at them like we look at them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
my mom always says, whoever makes you happy, they will never be good enough for you because I'm her baby.
Right.
So,
exactly. So there could be a whole bunch of things our parents don't agree with us on, like, our significant other, but specifically interracial, like, relationships, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what is your view on, like, interracial relationships and, like, family? Like, how does that whole dynamic work? Like, do you feel like if you were to have like a partner of another race, like if your family was like, I'm not really feeling that, would that be a deal breaker?
If it's just because of their race?
Yeah, just because of their race.
No. If that's your only reason for not liking them, then I'm sorry. You're going to have to get over it or deal with it some kind of way because that's, no. Unless it's like some fundamental issue, like he's not a good person.
Right.
Racist or something, like an issue legit, then then I would have consider their feelings. But if it's just because I don't want you to date someone white, Hispanic, or whatever the case may be,
right.
just because of their race, then no. That's sorry, I can't. And thankfully, I don't think my parents would feel that way at all. So
Right.
yeah. Well, I know that I shouldn't say think. That came out really weird. I don't think no, they
wouldn't. Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, race isn't going to stop me. My parents. They're not like that. But if my hypothetical parents, if they were like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. I'd be like, that's not a good thing for you.
Right.
It's just not.
It is 2021, people.
Right. So, but in 30 years, if everyone's not mixed, then I'll be
right. The way the world's going now, it's gonna be yeah.
We're all going to be the same color. Racism is going to go away because we're all going to be the same color.
Will it though?
Racism will evolve. You know what I'm saying? It'll be, fancier. But anyway.
Yeah. So speaking of interracial relationships, we have a couple here today that will give insights of their relationship. Joining us, we have James and Lynn Nunnally. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How about
We're good.
Good. So I know you guys are newlyweds. How long has it been?
Almost 6 months.
6 months. Wow. And how long have y'all been together? I think.
Do you know?
5 years.
First of all, it hasn't been 5 years. It's been 6.
Oh, okay. Might be in trouble, James. There, you don't know the answer. So tell us, how did you guys meet?
You can go.
Okay. Well, so we met at a party.
Okay.
So it was a Halloween night. My friend was DJing the party. And, she was dressed as a ladybug. And that's how we met.
So the ladybug drew you in.
Yep. I was like, her friend was a bumblebee and happened to leave for a second. And I was like, well, my turn to slide on in.
Okay.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, how'd you think about that? How'd you feel about that?
It was fine. At least he had a nice style.
Bug, you were dressed up as I guess that was just her, right? So you guys have been together for 6 years. So
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all been through a lot, and what we wanted to talk to you guys about is being an interracial couple. What are some of the perks and challenges of being in a relationship?
So some of the perks is that you get a mix of both cultures.
Right.
So you get to see different sides of different events. I have family reunions. She has family reunions, but they're two totally, completely different things. My family reunion you go to, it's just like a week-long thing. But hers, it'll be like they're going to meet Thanksgiving night, everybody's coming. Christmas, everybody's coming. So New Year's, everybody's coming. So it's more frequent for her, where families hanging out. But for me, it's just every 2 years, we get a week together.
Wow. Okay.
What's some of the challenges?
Well, being in a relationship, of course, you're going to meet those people that don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from both sides. I got relatives on my side that had problems with it. She got relatives on her side that got problems with it. We got random people that we see at Walmart got problems with it.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But it's nothing that you don't expect, because no matter what relationship you're in, someone's going to find something wrong with it.
Right.
That's true.
I think the biggest challenge, especially at this phase in our relationship, is that when you marry someone, you're their partner. you're their teammate. And there are a lot of battles in life that he's going to face. I will have zero idea what that feels like.
Yeah.
It's a really tough feeling to know that you can't empathize with your partner because you don't get the same like injustice or oppression just from society in general. So there's a constant kind of emotional curve and learning curve that we have to face as a couple, because I sit there and I'm like, honey, you can tell me all day long what you're feeling. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, especially as his wife, because I want to be able to take on his burdens with him. And there are certain burdens I just can't do that with.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense. But I think the biggest thing is that you are listening and that you are trying to learn and pray for him. And just that's how you can help and assist him, is you give him love, and of course, but you also give prayer and pray for him, uncover him as he go out and all those injustice. So I think you're doing a great job. I see your posts, so keep up the good work. James, you did bring up that some families on both sides were supportive. So has that changed now that you guys are married and they've been together for 6 years?
Not all of them. Some of them we just, to avoid. Unfortunately, those ties have been cut. We tried. We did the Christian thing where you try to forgive people and be like, here, this is who's coming into the family. Here's a chance for you to reconcile with it. But some people just don't want to change. Some people have that strong opinion that this is how things were, how things supposed to be, no matter what. I don't care what you want, and that's okay, because that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. I can't make you change that heart.
Yeah.
But I married Lynn because she's the love of my life, and if you can't accept that she's the love of my life, then you don't need to be a part of my life.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about that love that you find with someone, regardless of the color of their skin or background. We had a Black History Fact a couple of shows ago, and it was that Alabama interracial relationship was just passed. Was it 2000 or
something like that?
It was some crazy fact that it. Think for how we Alabama is so behind. So we still have a lot of work to do, but like you said, it's all about the love that you have for one another.
And I think we have a understanding between each other where we will never go someplace where the other one feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's good.
So we always make sure that both of us are comfortable in the situation.
Yeah. Good.
I think that the family members who genuinely just love us as individuals for who we are, we're way more willing to accept our partner. I think that we're very blessed because our immediate families, our parents, our siblings, our grandparents, they were all just open arms, full love from the very beginning. And then we had other family that's just kind of grown along the way. And a lot of that just came with them having to learn that stereotypes and what you think isn't just the truth for everybody. And then we had, like you said, family members that didn't care to learn, didn't care to grow with us, and that's okay. I'm going to be on this side of history. You can join me if you want,
Yes.
And if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah. And that's a hard pill to swallow because it is family, but like you said, you have to move forward. And you found the love of your life, and they can accept that, then I'm sorry.
Right.
So what piece of advice would you give to individuals that are thinking about being in an interrelational relationship? What comes to mind?
I would say don't take everything that you hear to heart. First of all, you've got to have a little bit of tough skin because, like we said before, you're going to get hate everywhere you go. We've had people question how we were going to raise kids. You know, were we going to raise them to be white? Are we going to raise them to be black?
Because they got to pick one.
Because they have to pick one, right? And, you know, in the very beginning, I was super sensitive to things like that. And I had to learn really quickly that you've just got to roll with the punches. And you have to realize that the people on the outside aren't there with you at the end of the day. They're not the ones that have to hold that relationship down.
That is true.
And I also think it comes with a lot of communication. And you have to, if you're on my side of it, if you're the white person in the relationship or the majority in the relationship, you have to make sure that your heart and your ears are open all the time. Because if you don't have that safe space for them to come to, you don't stand a chance. Because you're their vulnerable spot within their home that the outside world doesn't always give them. And for him, I think it's patience because I don't know everything. And sometimes he has to wait for me to kind of catch up because I have to put the pieces that I'm not used to putting together. Like I'm building this puzzle because it's not a puzzle I was ever handed. So I just think overall communication, tough skin, you know your relationship, and most importantly, make sure that you're setting an example. We believe that the life that we're living now together is creating the world that we want our children to grow up in. So if we want them to grow up in a world that is full of love and light and just really good Christian, wholesome values, we have to do that.
Yes, definitely.
So
You said something that I can't remember. We were having a conversation about this, or I was having a conversation with someone, but you had mentioned like the children, and it was, and I think I heard that a lot of mixed children, they kind of struggle with like, do I identify more with like the white people or the black people? Like, where do I actually? How would you help your children to, or how would you help, like, how would you teach them life and to view their own identity in a world that kind of tells them, like, you're either this or that? You know what I'm saying?
Well, what got us talking about this was we heard a story on the news a few years ago now, but it was a girl in high school. She was mixed. For whatever reason, the high school thought that the way to decorate the school for Black History Month was to make the front doors say coloreds only and whites only. And this beautiful mixed girl, she was like 16, she just didn't go to school that day. She came home, and when her mom was asking her, well, what's wrong? She told her mom, and her mom said, okay. And she goes, I didn't know what door I was supposed to walk into. Because history tells me one thing, but my life doesn't reflect just that one thing. And I think we have a very good understanding of there are obviously going to be things I can't teach our kids. There's going to be things he can't teach our kids. But we come together to the table to teach our kids that it's okay to see every aspect of who they are. I don't like when people teach their kids to be colorblind. That does nothing for the world. We're supposed to see color, love it, embrace it, enjoy the differences, just really be so proactive in promoting people for who they are. And I hope that that's what we can do.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
think, James?
We actually talked about that high school story in like really good detail because we had, again, two different styles. Because for me, I would have been like, okay, this is a history lesson time. And I would have said, hold up a paper bag. If you're darker than that paper bag, you're colored. And Lynn, from that perspective, was like, no, you can't do that. You can't tell her that she's going to be black. It's like, I'm not telling her she's black. I'm not telling her she's white. I'm telling her for that history lesson what she would have been considered at that time. So one thing that we're going to focus on is, because, you know, us being in a relationship, you attract people that are in relationships to talk to you. And I've had friends that were mixed, and, you know, we didn't pick what race they were. They just picked whatever they wanted to be. That's what they were. That was TJ. TJ wasn't black. TJ wasn't white. It was just, that was who TJ was. And that's what I would make my kids to be, is be who you are, and don't worry what the world wants to attach to you.
That's true. We thank you guys for sharing your story with us and sharing your experience. You definitely brought some highlights that will help a lot of people, and we appreciate you spending your time with us. Especially James, you're at work, so you stepped away in your car. So thank you so much for that.
No, there's no problem. I'm glad y'all have us on here.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Y'all have a good one.
So, we heard back from one of our followers on our YouTube page, Faith, Hope, Love Church. They had a question. Could you date someone who hates your kids?
So to me, let's unpack that real quick. So if this is someone, like, let's say you have a kid, but you're single, and then you end up getting engaged to someone that hates your child, I feel like that's something that you should determine early on.
Yes.
You know, you shouldn't be, if they hate your child, I don't understand why. Unless, I mean, there's some bad kids out there.
I think it's going with that. That's all right.
Because I'm like, well, actually, maybe I should have some empathy for them. You know? But for real though, I don't think I could do it. Because it's just like, man, if you don't like my child, I feel like you don't like me. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you gotta like my child. My child can probably be better behaved. My hypothetical child, because I don't have one. But, oh gosh.
Sorry.
Anyway, Brandice, what do you think?
No.
You could do it?
No. Because at the end of the day, I mean, no. If somebody coming in and is already this hatred for your kids, like, that person said hate, not dislike. They said hate your kids.
They said hate.
So it's not like, oh, I don't get along with you. They hate your kids. So what are we going to do? Not have family dinners, family vacation, like bad kids all the time?
So what do you think about this? What if the person that you have kids with ends up hating your kid? Y'all's kid. What do you do then? They like love you, they treat you right, but they're like, that kid though? No. Sleeping outside. Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, I'm going to pray that never happens. Like, what kind of monster is that? Are you that person?
Huh?
Are you that person?
No, no. I don't think. See, my thing is like.
You not like kids? Is that what you're trying to get at?
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm just being plain.
I love kids, but my thing is, if you have a child with someone and they're like, man, I really hate this kid, that's just like, dude, like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know how that's physically possible. Like, I mean. Okay.
Oh, there's people that hate their kids.
Exactly. I was about to say that. But why? Your kids, not somebody else's kids that you come to. That, I feel like that's a whole nother topic, and I feel like that's a whole other set of issues.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like your own kids, either they're doing
right
or something's going on.
You know, and so in the comments, do you hate your kids? And why? Tell us if you hate your kids, and if you do, tell us why.
Please don't tell us you hate your kids.
Okay. I want to know. So
message Jo'Van. What's your social media?
So yeah.
Don't don't comment that because your kids might grow up to read one day and they're gonna be like,
I hope they
made
learn how
me."
to read one day. And oh my goodness. Anyway, guys, thank y'all for tuning in to this week's episode. We appreciate you. And once again, share our videos, like, subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Bye.